Taurus, this is an urgent summons from destiny itself, and there's no time for hesitation. On September 24th, 2025, Pluto, the planet of total transformation, forms an aspect that will sound like a verdict, yet is, in fact, an invitation. Its message is direct and severe. It's time for your soul to leave this world. Not your physical body, but your old reality, the scorched earth of your habits, the dilapidated fortress of beliefs that no longer protect you but hold you captive. The universe demands that you undertake this painful, yet essential exodus. This is not an end, but the only possible prologue to your true greatness. You've felt this coming for a long time, haven't you? The fertile soil of your life, which you so diligently cultivated, has turned to stone. Nothing grows there anymore, and what was planted before slowly withers, clinging to parched roots. Your renowned stability has become a viscous swamp, and your comfort zone a gilded cage from which you're terrified to escape. You stand on the threshold, knowing a step must be taken, yet your feet feel rooted to ground that no longer nourishes you, but merely holds you in a death grip. This is your current world, an illusion of safety, paid for by complete stagnation. This is precisely why Pluto activates an immutable cosmic law. Stubbornly clinging to an obsolete material form leads to slow spiritual petrification. You risk becoming a beautiful, yet lifeless monument to your own past, admired by all, but devoid of any vitality. The universe demands not loyalty to ruins, but the courage to become the true gardener of your destiny. This means acknowledging that to cultivate a new garden, you must first ruthlessly clear the field, uprooting everything that no longer bears fruit. Such is the bitter yet life-giving price of your rebirth. This impetus will come from an external source, a sudden piece of news, a casual remark, or a document placed on your desk. It will be the very sound that shatters the monolith of your reality, the sound of a cracking foundation that you've so long refused to hear. In an instant, you'll realize the system you relied upon has developed an irreversible fissure, and continuing to support it means being buried under its debris. From this moment on, ignoring the signs will become not just foolish, but physically impossible, like failing to notice an earthquake beneath your feet. Pluto will simply hold up a mirror, reflecting what has long since crumbled within you. And then, gazing at this reflection, you'll feel not terror, but a strange, almost icy calm. It will be as if someone else has awakened within you, an ancient geologist of your soul who, without panic, simply states the fact: a tectonic shift has already occurred. The internal cry of, "This cannot continue," will instantly subside, yielding to a quiet yet unshakable resolve. From this moment, you will cease to be a guardian of ruins and become the architect of a new landscape. This is the awakening of your true self, a hero who has come not to save the old world, but to build a new one upon its foundations. But let's be honest, this steely resolve wasn't born out of thin air. It was forged from the ashes of your recent defeats, from the bitterness of disappointments when the soil you poured your soul into suddenly refused to bear fruit. Recall that profound weariness from fighting for what was slowly dying in your hands, that silent rage from the betrayal of those you considered your pillars of support. Now know this, not a single one of your tears was shed in vain. The universe wasn't punishing you, it was preparing the compost. All this experience, all this pain, this is the richest, blackest topsoil upon which your new world will now emerge. And here it is, Pluto's grand promise, carved into celestial granite. From this pain-fertilized soil, you will rise not merely renewed, but in an entirely different capacity. You will cease to be a mere custodian of material possessions and instead become their living, breathing source. Your mission shifts from to possess to be. People will be drawn to you not for what you have, but for who you have become. Embodied stability, tangible fertility. This is the highest alchemy of your sign, transforming from a skilled gardener tending your plot into Gaia herself, a planet bestowing life and sanctuary. Such is your new status in the universe. Yet no sooner will this majestic vision of the future illuminate your consciousness than a cold, paralyzing whisper will rise from the darkest cellars of your soul. This is the voice of your inner guardian, who has suddenly transformed into a jailer. He will try to convince you to stay, whispering about the value of what has already been built, about the reliability of familiar walls, even if they are covered in cracks. What if this is a mistake? What if leaving this shore, you don't find new land, but simply drown in chaos? He will ask. This primal fear of losing what can be touched is your primary adversary on this journey. It is precisely at this moment, when terror grips your throat, that you must remember who you truly are. You are not merely a custodian. You are the architect of the new earth. Your mission is not to lament old walls, but to lay the first stone in the foundation of a different world. Your true strength lies in the ability to sense the structure of the future through the veil of chaos, to see fertile soil where others perceive only ashes. This is not fantasy, but your innate knowledge, your geology of the spirit. Your destiny is to become a point of support for those lost in the ruins, living proof that after an end, creation always begins. And so you perform it, the first ritual of new creation. Without drama or grand pronouncements, you simply take the key to your old life, be it the key to an office, an apartment, or another's heart, and calmly place it on the table. You don't slam the door. You close it quietly, but permanently, with the full awareness that what remains behind it is not merely possessions, but an entire stratum of your reality that you have just relegated to the geological past. This silent gesture is your first pickaxe strike against the old bedrock, the first stroke on the map of a new world. The first act of your great drama is complete. This grand exodus will now unfold across three primary theaters of your destiny. The first is the plateau of achievements, where you will suddenly realize that your summit is a cold, lifeless plain, upon which nothing more will grow. The second is the canyon of intimacy, where you must acknowledge that you have become not a reliable support, but a load-bearing wall within others' crumbling structures. And the third is the deposits of security, where you will see that the gold vein that nourished you has run dry, and any attempt to extract anything further from it is a slow self-poisoning. These are the three fronts of your farewell to the old world, three areas where illusions will be swept away without a trace. The icy wind on your plateau of achievements will be the first to greet you. All the accolades you once cherished will suddenly appear as mere props, and your career ladder, a path leading to an artfully constructed mausoleum. Here, your primary adversary is sentimentality. Do not attempt to polish tarnished trophies. Instead, apply your greatest strength, earthy practicality. Conduct a ruthless inventory. What among these still nourishes you, and what merely drains your vitality? Your task is, with a farmer's cold clarity, to separate living assets from dead regalia. This is not a betrayal of the past, but the highest form of loyalty to your future harvest. Next, the path plunges into the canyon of intimacy, and here the coldness of pragmatism will no longer serve you. The pain will be sharp, for you will see how your devotion has become the foundation for others' irresponsibility. You are no longer a partner. You are a resource, thoughtlessly consumed, an inexhaustible source fueling others' illusions. Your strategy here is to declare emotional bankruptcy. Stop extending credit for trust and support to those who will never repay it. This doesn't mean becoming callous. It means ceasing to be a living shield, covering others' vulnerabilities. Your act of supreme self-love is a silent, yet firm no to the next plea for rescue. And now, the finale, a battle within your own treasuries, in the deposits of security. Here you will realize that the gold vein you've been mining has long been depleted, now emitting only the poisonous vapors of fear. Any attempt to cling to this asset transforms into a slow poisoning of your soul. And here, Pluto will demand the impossible of you, not to find a new source, but to deliberately relinquish the search. Your sole survival strategy is to voluntarily step into material emptiness, to prove to yourself and the world that you are not merely a keeper of treasure, but the fertile layer itself, capable of generating new riches from dust. And at the very moment you take this step into the resonating void, a guide will materialize on your path. Not a person, but a principle. Not a book, but knowledge that will take the form of a chance phrase, a symbol, a sudden insight. This is the ancient cartographer of your new reality, who will appear to hand you a compass, and a map of a world yet uncreated. He could not have come sooner. His quiet voice was drowned out by the roar of collapsing walls. Now, in the ensuing silence, you are finally able to hear him. His task is not to comfort, but to empower you, pointing to the energetic fault lines of the new landscape upon which you will build your foundation. And this voice will silently transmit to you the sole law bequeathed by your celestial patroness, Venus. This is her primary secret, intended for your darkest hour. Your true worth lies not in what you have accumulated, but in your innate ability to attract. Cease being a safe, fearful of robbery. Become a living magnet. When your hands are empty and fear becomes palpable, remember your strength is not in what you hold, but in who you are. You are the center of gravity for abundance. Trust this inner field, and all the world's resources will find their way to you, drawn by your new, purified essence. But be vigilant. As soon as you embrace this new power, an ancient siren will rise from the depths of your earthly nature, your shadowy craving for simple, tangible comfort. She will whisper in your ear, "Enough of grand constructions. You've earned your peace. Here is soft earth, here is warm bread. This is enough." And this is the sweetest lie. It will substitute your grand mission to become a fertile planet for the petty desire to be a well-tended flower in a pot. But a flower merely consumes resources. Your new destiny, however, is to be an inexhaustible source yourself. And the universe, as if hearing this treacherous whisper, will immediately cast a lure before you. An oasis will suddenly appear on your path, unexpected luck, an easy solution to an old problem, the first modest fruit on scorched earth. You will exhale with relief. There it was. So it wasn't so terrible after all. But this is the most insidious test on your journey. It is not a reward for courage, but a trial of the magnitude of your true intentions. The universe, as it were, asks, are you truly ready to become a new Gaia, or is this small, cozy garden enough for you to settle and abandon your path? This is the great lulling of your will. And precisely at the autumn equinox, when day and night momentarily pause in fragile cosmic balance, a seismic echo from your past will arrive, nullifying all your compromises. This will be news of the final, unconditional collapse of the system from which you emerged. A bankruptcy, a resignation, the physical disintegration of a structure. And with chilling clarity, you will understand, your small oasis sits directly on the edge of a tectonic fault line. The choice is no longer between a modest garden and a new planet. Now it is between a total exodus and being buried alive beneath an avalanche of others' ruins. And here it is, the first act of your true escape, distinct from a grand exodus. You will have to, with your own hands, uproot the very sprout of hope you painstakingly nurtured in your cozy oasis. This is your first and most bitter sacrifice on the altar of a new life, to abandon not only the ruins of the past to the encroaching elements, but also the first fruits of the future. You must step away not merely with empty hands, but with a bleeding wound where your newfound support once stood. The universe takes this tiny life raft from you, not out of cruelty, but to compel you to remember, your destiny is not to cling to debris, but to be the ocean itself. But instead of the boundless power of the ocean, you feel only its icy, all-consuming abyss, dragging you down. In this moment of absolute vulnerability, your inner critic, seemingly vanquished, returns with triumph. You believed them, he scoffs. Believed in the mission to become a source. Look at yourself. You are empty. And you look, and you see the truth in his words. All the grand promises of the heavens now seem like a malicious mockery. For the first time, you entertain the thought that there is no new land. You are merely a lost gardener who, in a fit of madness, burned his only garden to ashes, left alone in the wasteland. And it is here, at the very bottom of this wasteland, that you finally come face to face with it, the chief demon of your lineage, the panic-stricken dread of material non-existence. This is not the fear of death, but of utter barrenness, the fear of becoming a black hole that only consumes light, yielding nothing in return. Do not fight it. Do not seek an escape. Simply allow this icy darkness to engulf you to your very core. For only there, in the innermost heart of your greatest fear, at the absolute 0 point, will you discover something unshakable. Not light, not hope, but only the quiet, stubborn beat of life in the one thing you have left, your own body. And within this rhythm, this stubborn pulse of life, the forgotten covenant of your guide suddenly emerges, like a watermark on paper. Your worth lies in your ability to attract. An epiphany pierces you, simple and unshakable as the Earth's axis. Your body is that very magnet. Not an abstract field, but living, breathing matter. Here it is, your sole unshakable asset. And a new strategy is born: cease searching for fertile ground externally and begin cultivating the only land you have left. Yourself, transforming your body into the epicenter of abundance. Thus begins your great hunt. But you seek not external treasure, but an inner archetype, the golden bull of your soul. This is not an idol to be worshipped, but a living, breathing power embodied in your very flesh. It is your capacity to be an inexhaustible source of life, a self-sufficient ecosystem that requires no external watering. All your past quests for stability were merely a shadow of this grand objective. Now you hunt not for gold, but for the right to become gold itself, living, warm, fertile. This hunt unfolds not in the external world, but within the temple of your flesh. You cease frantically searching for external resources and begin a sacred inventory of your sole true asset. Every conscious breath, every movement performed with full presence is not merely self-care. It is an alchemical act, transforming your life force into precious metal. You no longer expend yourself maintaining ruins, but invest every drop of energy into constructing an inner throne. All the lessons of the past converge into a single truth: your only indestructible fortress is yourself. And here it is, the primary watershed of your destiny. A choice that will define the very physics of your new world. Will you continue to live by the law of the dam, erecting walls to retain what you've accumulated, measuring your worth by the volume of captured water? Or will you embrace the law of the living source, becoming the stream itself, unafraid of depletion, for its nature is to be eternally born from its own depths? The first path offers the security of a slave guarding his gold. The second, the freedom of a creator who is gold itself. Pluto doesn't ask what you will choose, he merely positions you at the point where these two paths diverge forever. And here it is, your adversary, appearing before you in the flesh. This is not a demon, but your own pragmatism, your ancient ancestral instinct for survival. It extends to you the blueprints for a new, even more secure dam, convincing you that precisely now, in a moment of chaos, you must build, not surrender to mystical currents. And you look at these blueprints, and every cell of your body screams, yes, this is salvation. But your new fire-forged spirit does the unthinkable. It calmly burns these blueprints, choosing not the security of walls, but faith in the inexhaustibility of its own depths. This is your victory, a quiet act of faith amidst the deafening roar of fear. And as soon as the last shred of those blueprints turns to ash, the long-standing internal hum, the drone of fear of loss, the clamor of defense, simply switches off. You are no longer a besieged fortress, measuring its provisions and counting how long supplies will last until the inevitable end. You become the territory itself, a living continent whose value lies not in accumulated treasures, but in the very capacity to generate life. Your power is now not in what you can build, but in who you are. This is your coronation, ascending to the throne of your own reality, where you are both king and land and treasure. And this is what your day looks like now. The anxiety of strategic planning, the endless calculation of risks and resources, is replaced by a deep, organic calm. You no longer devise a master plan for conquering the future. You simply listen to the breath of the soil beneath your feet. Your primary question shifts from, what should I take from this world, to what wants to be born through me today? Abundance ceases to be a goal. It becomes a natural consequence of your presence, like the shadow you cast at noon. You yourself transform into that very place of power where others come not to ask, but simply to exist. I do not own. I am the earth. Speak these words aloud, and let them become your new center of gravity. This is not an affirmation, it is a declaration of a new physical law of your universe. And know this, as soon as a continent declares its birth, the winds of destiny immediately rush to its shores. They are already carrying to you the seeds of new civilizations, new conflicts, new myths. Your next great trial is already en route. And it will not be a battle for survival, but the sovereign right to choose which of these seeds you will allow to sprout on your land.